Hey guys, welcome to Shadows in the North. We're here this week talking about some comp discussions, a general catch up, and we said we were going to do a show a week, and we're not going to fail on our first week.
That'd be a bad start.
That'd be a bad start. Real quick, what have you been doing in the hobby recently?
Not that much for me. Um, mostly just what have I been doing? I did some work on bases. I'm kind of experimenting with different basing techniques. I really don't like exactly how mine turned out. I want to keep the rock, but I think it looks a little bit too fake. So I want to add some like dirt, I guess, essentially, and
Right,
foliage to it to make it look a bit more realistic for my demons and I guess my warriors of chaos, since essentially I'm starting a new army with them.
right.
Um, Otherwise, yeah. So I experimented with using pigments to do basically dirt and see how that worked out. Um, I think it looks okay, but we'll see when I can actually put some foliage and static grass on it. Otherwise, haven't really been doing much. I did buy pretty much everything I need for Brawler Bash, so that's in the mail. So that'll be here soon, and then I can get to work painting.
Yeah, and another week and probable hotel room finish.
Probable.
Probable. Great. I'm still just chugging away on another Dark Elf commission. Painting some warlocks up for Brawler Bash, and then a couple of more characters. So I got everything cleaned up today, primed,
Nice.
and ready to paint next week on my 1 day off.
Nice. That's solid. Solid.
Solid. I mean, I was gonna try and bust out 30 white lions before Brawler Bash, but with this guy wanting to pay me to actually, put together toy soldiers, I thought I would do that and then take a list that I didn't have to assemble anything for or paint.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree.
So we are going to Brawler Bash.
We are.
You're taking Legions of Chaos,
I am.
and I'm taking High Elves, of course.
Of course.
Of course. I'm not taking Host of the Eternity King, which, could be good, could be bad, but I'm kind of looking forward to play my Death from Above list. It has a Swordmaster so aptly named it.
Yes, Death from Above. I like it. I do like it.
Uh-huh. We're not going to give away too many spoilers for the list right now, but it's kind of rough.
It is kind of rough. It will be pretty rough. We'll probably both post videos, I guess, shortly after Brawlers, introducing our
Right.
list. Maybe shortly before. I don't know.
Yeah.
I guess probably pretty much whenever it suits our fancy. But
Suits are fancy.
we'll get those up and give you an idea. It is 3K uncomped, and it is as much cheese as you imagine it being with that compact. So
Right. Well, I will say that I'm not taking Banner of the World Dragon because I believe it's against the spirit of the tournament.
you're not
Um,
taking Banner of the World Dragon because you don't have points for Banner of the World Dragon.
there's an easy way to get points for Banner of the World Dragon if I really wanted to,
True, true.
but I did not want to because I feel like it was against the spirit of the tournament, and
Right.
I could have totally gone for the banner, but whatever.
Yeah.
I don't have enough points for a dispel scroll, but I have enough points. And what are we calling your list anyway? Um,
What are we calling my list? Do we have a
the
name for my list?
the,
Oh, yeah,
the
that's right.
Chaos Siege list.
Chaos Siege, yeah.
Yeah,
You'll Anyone listening to that, you will know exactly what I'm talking about when I show you my list.
yeah. So look forward. So we have High Elves, Death from Above, and we have the Chaos Siege list.
Yep.
Yep, great.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so with Masters just having happened, which, by the way, congratulations to Jacob Brandon for
Yeah.
winning not only Best General, which means he's the national champion, but he also somehow won Best Overall with those disgusting looking Tomb Kings.
Yeah.
Um,
Well done to him.
well done to him.
Yeah.
Well done to everybody who played. That's really cool. Congratulations to the Northeast for winning Best Region.
Yep. They did a good job again.
They
Pretty
did.
much across the board. Although South was right on their heels this year.
The Mid Atlantic was kind of right there too. So
Yep. Yeah, those three regions were all somewhat close. Yeah, somewhat close.
yeah, they were all within striking distance.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so with Masters having just happened, There's been a lot of talk on the sweet nerd rage interwebs about the deal with Swedish comp versus ETC comp versus no comp, and we just kind of wanted to, for this show, give you an idea of what our thoughts are on comp and how we feel about Swedish, how we feel about ETC, how we feel about uncomped, and kind of take it from there. So, what are your impressions of Swedish initially?
I really like it. Yeah, I mean, I just really like it. The thing that I like about it over something like ETC
Hmm.
is that ETC is assumes you're taking the best choices, right? So it only comps the stuff that is the most heinous offenders of being overpowered, basically. So like you can only take X number of chariots if you're warriors, and if you take more than that, it counts as a choice. And you
Hmm.
get 5 choices from a list of things, and those are like some combination of those 5 things is your army. But then other than that, they assume that you're taking, your level 4, your all these other things. They don't reward you for taking suboptimal choices with giving you extra hard things, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So like my Mono Demons of Corn that I took to Colonial is ETC illegal, but I can't imagine anyone in ETC thinking my army is strong, if you know what I
Right.
mean.
Hmm.
Having absolutely no magic. All I have according to ETC. The only thing that's in my army, as far as they're concerned, is a Greater Demon and 2 Skull Cannons, which brings me over the 5 band comp.
Right.
Um, so I mean, I like Swedish because it lets you balance things. You can pretty much take whatever you want as long as you're willing to make concessions elsewhere. And that's
Right.
the amount of freedom is what I really like about it.
Well, yeah, like when we first started playtesting lists for Colonial, we were talking about your list, and how well we thought it would do, and it turned out it did really well.
Right.
Um, in a Swede comp style environment, because Swede comp hits those level 4 so hard that you're not seeing a whole lot of magic. And then with you
Mhm.
taking a whole lot of monocorn, and you're kind of, playing the comp a bit there with taking the what is it, the War Shrine, or
The
you know
Skull
what I mean,
Throne. Yeah, the
the
Skull
Skull
Throne.
Throne. Yeah, like it's a 450 point -3 hit.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
you could take that thirster double cannon and a grinder, and really do well with it. So there is that element of Swedish comp that I know I hear that a lot, is that Swede comp can be broken. You just got to find the holes and play to it. But for the most part, I think Swede comp is harder to break than the ETC.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, yeah, I'd agree with that. There's every year, you end up with a bunch of countries that are running the same list.
Exactly.
And it's just like, or like if they're not identical, I think 2 years ago, there was like one demon list that was identical for like 3 different countries, like down to the T.
Yeah.
And this was before the demon book, so it wasn't like, oh yeah, they all took this upgrade of gifts. Like no, no, no. This was the 7th edition book, so they had exact items. They all took the same items on the exact same characters, or top to the bottom. It was the same exact list across the board,
Yeah.
and that just gives you an idea that these people independently came up with basically the same list that breaks it. Now, I mean, there might have been some communication, but the fact that that many people conclude the same thing, that this is the most powerful list they can take, it's yeah, you see a lot more of that in ETC, which is what
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, and then last year, like every high elf list was almost identical. I mean, it was like, did you take a Star Dragon? No. Then you took an Anointing off, Frost Art.
Right,
Then you took a Cat Bless. Then
right.
you took Death or Life, or whatever. Uh,
Yep,
so, and I do like that my 12 could be completely different than another high elf 12.
right.
Um, at Colonial, for instance, I was the only one running a Star Dragon, sitting at like
Mhm,
a 12.1.
mhm.
Almost all of us, I think, had Phoenix Guard. Um,
Yes.
yeah, but only two. There were only 4 players too, which kind of tweaks it.
It's
But one guy showed up with the Frost Heart, 2 Griffins, and um, a mini Sister Star, which was really sweet to see on the table.
awesome.
You know what I mean? But hey, he found a way to get into Frost Art, which I've never played a Sweet Comp game with a Frost Art Phoenix.
Right,
I just
right.
don't
But
believe it's possible.
well, yeah, but I mean, he found a way to do it by taking some Griffins, and that's
He
what
took
happened.
some Griffins, and you know what? God bless him, because
Yeah.
you don't ever see Griffins.
Yeah, no, exactly. And that's the type of thing you don't see in ETC ever.
Right.
which is nice. I mean, it's nice to get some play from the models that no one takes.
Hmm.
And also, more than that, when's the last time anyone took Tomb Kings to the ETC?
I think there was like one player last year.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
Yeah.
very few people take it because I mean they've been trying to make Tomb Kings viable in ETC for a long time. They haven't figured it out, but I mean, for Swedish, they won. So I mean, granted, helped significantly by Lore of Undeath, but
Right.
still, it
Yeah.
was he. I mean, even if they comped the Lore of Undeath harder, it's just such a good compliment for Tomb Kings. I mean, Jacob Brendan found the hole. He found a way to make it work. Found a way to, you know, take concessions where he had to fit into that comp range that he wanted with that list. I
Right.
don't think that'd be possible with TTC.
And we'll give Travis Wayforth credit too because he designed the list
Oh,
for
right,
Jacob Brandon.
Travis did the list. Yeah, that's
But
right.
Jacob's a very skilled general, and
He is.
having played him a couple times, he's very talented.
Yeah.
Which kind of sounds weird to say talking about Warhammer.
Well, well, no, I
But no,
mean,
he's very very good.
oh yeah, no, I
It's
mean,
a
like
really
it's
tight game.
very tight game, and I mean the thing, it just kind of gives you an idea of how much he's thinking ahead. Um, when it comes to if you look at the stuff that he was raising in his games in the
Right.
Masters, he one game. I mean, when he played against me, he would raise
Hmm.
a bunch of. He realized that ethereal creatures are worthless against me as demons, so he raised a bunch of mages and gave them magical items that were useful.
Right.
Really smart play. So he was looking ahead to his next magic phase of being like, okay, this item will be useful, and also stuff like at one point in the tournament, he had just charged his. I think this was against Furbush in the last game. He had just charged his giant. Just charged his giant into a unit of spearmen, and
Didn't you play Justin Burgee the last round?
sorry, not Furbush, Justin Burgee. Yeah, that's right.
Uh,
Sorry, I'm getting my top 10 high elf players finishers mixed
a
up.
little mixed up there.
Yeah, but yeah, he was playing Justin Burgee. He just charged his Hero Titan
Hmm.
into combat, and he's like, well, they have into a unit of spearmen. He's like, well, they have ranks and banners, so I need something to prevent crumble. Oh yeah, I'm going to raise a unit of Morghast that not only chaffs but also decreases my crumble. Really
Yep.
good play.
Uh-huh.
Stuff
So
like that.
yeah, I mean, so um, it was a great way for Jacob to kind of showcase his talents, and then also to show that Swedish comp does really reward you for taking different choices, out of the box choices.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, when's the last time you saw Orcs and Goblins finish second overall in a tournament?
Yeah. No, it's been a long time. It's been a very
Uh,
long time.
and then you kind of had a really nice spread in the top 10, I
You did.
think.
You
Um,
had a lot more high elves than.
Isles really pushed into there because I think they are the easiest to do well with of the elf armies in Swedish comp. That was kind of loaded, um, but the comp is very forgivable when you take the spear elves, the Lothar Sea Guard, and then you cram a Book of Hoeth High Wizard with 3 upwards a Phoenix Guard.
Right. Well, yeah, exactly. It's the Phoenix Guard. I mean, they're exactly what you want in the type of Swedish environment. And hard as nails, essentially untouchable unit, like a Death Star in Justin Burgee's case.
Right.
So I mean, it's a really effective use of both points and comp points.
Yep. Now, real quick, I want to talk about range bands for Swede comp. And how that affects the play. Masters was an 814 range band.
Right.
And when we went to, you didn't go, but at GrailQuest it was 1014,
Okay.
I think. But anyway, so this really impacts how SwedeCom plays because you can take anything you want in Swedish as long as you fall within the range band. Um,
Right.
a friend and I played last week where he took a negative 5.3 demon list and I took a 14 high elf list. And like he essentially tabled me, like almost tabled me, and I still won by like 200 points because I started 100 points up. Um,
Yeah.
so it does reward you in that sense.
Yeah.
Um, now that's assuming you're playing active comp, which
Mhm.
active comp is when you have a 12, I have a 14, I start 200 points up.
Right.
Right. There's passive comp, which is you have a 12, I have a 14. I get my comp score for the event is 14 points. Your comp score is 12.
Right, exactly. And so then
Hmm.
that score is basically added as an additional game at the end of the tournament.
Right.
It's if it's a 5 game tournament, you have a comp score, and that's between 0 and 20, and that's just added to your score at the end.
Right.
Kind of equalize the playing field between these different things. And I mean, both systems have their strengths and weaknesses.
Hmm.
Um, I feel that in general, passive comp kind of gives people a bias towards the lower end.
Well, and by lower end we mean towards a harder
Toward,
list,
right, towards a harder list.
like single digit.
Yeah. So I mean,
Hmm.
if it's a so for example, if the Masters were an 8 to 14 passive comp, I think you would have seen a lot more eights.
Yes.
Because there's only a difference of 6 battle points total. You could probably table people much more effectively with an 8 than you can with a 14.
Right.
So over the course of an entire event, it would make a difference. However, when you are adding 200 victory points every game, that's 1,200 victory points that you're scoring for taking certain weaker choices over the course of the event. That adds up. A lot of people don't like starting the game behind, and they tend to go higher.
Uh-huh.
Unless you're Julian Lasange and you just kind of go, you know what, I'm taking vampires 8.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I mean, I wish we played more passive comp just because I haven't gotten to play a tournament like that on the Mid-Atlantic yet.
Yeah,
And I think it'd be nice to mix it up, you know. I
I
really
think.
wanted to play like we used to in California in little Reading where there was 4 Warhammer players, and we would do round robin tournaments on a Saturday. We one time took we called it the Fluffy Bunny tournament where you could not be below an 18. I think we said you could not be below an 18 on Swedish, like which is really hard.
Yeah.
Go double Dragon Mage, but and then we the next time we got together we did you can't be in the positives or you had to get as close to 0 as you possibly could, and so it's just it's just different.
hmm Swiss cheese tournament.
Swiss cheese tournament, we had
Yeah.
well, we actually called it the wine and cheese tournament
There you go.
and
That's the
drank
way to
lots
do
of wine and fancy cheeses. um, in
it.
that way you can kind of mix it up.
Yeah. No, I mean that's the thing. I wish the Mid Atlantic would do more variety in their ranges. The guys in the if you anyone listens to the Dwellers Below podcast, they mention this as well. Apparently, Australia has a very big Swedish scene, and a lot of tournaments are using the same. They're all using the same compact, basically. They're all using Swedish, and they all use the same band. And eventually, it just kind of gets stale. Everyone's using the same armies. It eventually kind of deteriorates to the point where everyone's taking the same army again. It's the same thing as you see in ETC, where everyone's like, "Oh, this is the most optimal use of my points."
Right.
And I'd like to see some variety in that regard. Of instead of having 8 to 14, hey, let's do a 5 to 10, or let's do a 15 to 20, something like just mix it up. And by changing that band, you're changing the attitude of the tournament. You're changing what you see and what people are taking.
Right. Good. Now, the only thing I'd like to add is one thing that I think the ETC does really well is they cap the magic phase at 5 dice per spell.
Right.
And I actually really enjoy that. I really like it, especially in Swede comp, where you're not seeing those. Let me preface it by that. Sorry, this is going to sound a little broken now. Um, the Doom and Death spells from Warhammer 8th Edition were designed to kill Death Stars because I think the designers realized that hey, 8th Edition plays really well into Death Stars with Steadfast, with Step Up, with fighting in additional ranks that we never had in 7th Edition. So you never needed to take Death Stars because they weren't that vital. You could take the MSU style and still do really well. So they realized that Death Stars were going to be prevalent. They were going to be nasty. So let's put in all of these spells that solve that problem.
Right.
You don't have that as much in Swedish. As much, I say that, and then the two out of the 3 top 10 high elf players were running pretty much Phoenix Guard Death Stars.
Right.
But overall, the impression is you don't get a lot more Death Stars, and that you could get away with capping the casting phase at 5 dice.
Right. Yeah, no, I'd agree.
Hmm.
I mean, yeah, I like the cat magic phase. I think, I mean, from GW's perspective, I think they kind of attacked it multiple ways in terms of countering Death Stars. And one of the ways is with magic, which we comp out. The other way is with scenarios, which we don't play. So it's just kind of catering. I think the tournament scene has really allowed Death Stars to be a thing.
Right.
Um,
When you're only playing Battle Line.
Exactly. Like if I mean the Masters sort of corrected that in terms of this year they had up to 450 points I believe it was of scenario
I think
bonuses
it was
that you
like
get.
600.
Was it 600? It
Yeah.
was either 40.
It
Yeah, I
was
think it might have been
sizable. It
600.
was
It was
sizable.
sizable. Yeah. And that's kind of taking a step in the right direction where you can achieve an objective and therefore the that'll influence your score. And so if
Hmm.
there's a Death Star you can't take, well, you can still win the game 20-0 because you got an extra 600 points. So it helps, I think, but that's just starting to become a thing. I think hopefully we see that continue because I mean scenarios just make it more fun in general. It makes it a lot more tactical than just playing the same game over and over again where it becomes stale.
Right. Completely agree. Now, real quick, I want to give a shout out to my West Coast people, because we don't play comp out there. Well, we play a really weird form of comp, which is panel comp or player voted comp,
Right.
which I absolutely abhor. Like, there's just unless you're gonna say, here's my list, give me a comp score now before the game starts. There's no fair way of doing it.
Right.
And then it's even frustrating running like in panel comp, because you're not really knowing why you're getting hit, where you're getting hit, where you think that your local meta, hey, my Star Dragon's really not that good because I run into cannons all the time. But you send it out to, and one of the judges is from a Swede comp or an ETC comp where they don't play True Line of Sight. They're like, oh my gosh, that's a Star Dragon. That's gonna roll train in my meta, so that's getting comped harder.
Right.
Um, and then there's just a lot of like I alluded to in the first sentence was there's a lot of you're comping the player, not the army. Where I went to a 1 day event where we were doing player voted comp, and I got like where 4 was considered a soft list, 1 was considered a really hard list, or you could even get 0. I was running no Magic Tomb Kings with 1 Sphinx, like just ridiculous stuff, and I got like a 1 on army comp. Like, I had Bo Shopty.
Yeah.
Uh, so that's just the imbalances there, and I really don't like that. In my opinion, you just either play uncomped or play a comped back. Don't do this player voted stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad the Mid Atlantic has never done player voted for that exact reason. I feel like, especially if it's player voted after the game, because I mean, you 20 someone and they're going to give you the lowest score because they're like, oh,
Yeah,
this army's broken.
it's not
If
me as a player. I'm Jesus to Warhammer here. So
that is what a lot of Warhammer. Although I see that less in fantasy. I feel that's more of like a Fayette, blah blah blah, or
I
sorry,
don't
War Seer 40K thing.
I
Maybe
don't
I'm
know. I
wrong.
I do I run into it a lot. So
I don't know. Maybe it's just the people that
hmm
I don't know that play in this area. I haven't seen it that much in either the Fancy Lads or I mean, I haven't seen Foul that often, but I haven't seen it there as much. But I
uh-huh.
don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I just don't see it as much in the Mid Atlantic. At least maybe I'm just being optimistic. But
It's just
I don't
that
know.
cheery disposition you have,
It is the cheery disposition. I always see the best in people.
the boyish glow,
I know exactly. I'm just innocent. I'm innocent.
the naivety of youth. Anyway.
A
This is getting a little weird.
little bit.
Uh,
Thank you for
so
that.
yeah, no worries. It's totally thrown me off my train of thought where I wanted to take the show next because we were talking about panel comp and player comp, uncomped. Um, hmm.
Huh? How about that?
So how about that hobby update?
Yeah. How about
Isn't
that
that
hobby
isn't that what we
update?
did the last time when
You
we
just threw me
when
under
we
the bus.
paused when we paused out? Um, no, I mean, oh, I remember. I'm so sorry, guys. Special characters. How do you feel about special characters? Do you want to see more of them, less of them?
Um, I am. not a huge fan of special characters. I know not all of them are broken. I think it's just because I started in fifth, which is the era of when they were all like broken as hell.
Right,
So I think I just still have that bias. I just still don't like seeing them. I just have more fun building my own characters, and
right.
I don't know.
I don't know.
That's
I think that special characters can add a lot to the game. Um,
yeah,
that aren't necessary. Like, I'd love to run, what's his face, Snagla Grob Spitta from the Orc and Goblin book, and just, have my little
right,
Wolf Rider tribe with a couple of cheeky special rules that aren't game breaking
right.
by any
Yeah,
means.
I think they can have a place.
Right.
I just think yeah, they need to be controlled. I mean, I don't want to see Malekith, Lord of the host of the Eternity
Oh
King.
yeah, the in time characters are a completely different ballgame.
Yeah.
I'm just talking, generic Warhammer 8th. I think the special characters are great. I also played in 5th, but I kind of fall on the other side of the line where you did, where, oh my god, that thing is nowhere near as broken as it was in 5th. I have no problems playing that.
Okay. Fair,
You
fair.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um,
No, I mean as long as it's controlled and so I mean granted, and since we're talking about comp, as long as it is comped where like the worst offenders like Kairos or Epidemius are not just kind of given free
yeah.
reign,
Yeah,
then
I
it's
mean,
not that
like,
bad.
ETC's letting them in this year, which is kind of cool. That's why I thought I'd bring it up.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, no, I mean I feel like ETC in general is getting closer to actually playing Warhammer, which is nice.
right, and I'd actually love us, and because I think that Swedish does a really great job at comping special characters.
No, they do in
I'd
general. Yeah.
really love to see a Swede Cup tournament with special characters allowed.
Yeah, I mean it's a possibility. I mean, two of the tournaments in the Mid Atlantic this year haven't even released their compact yet. So I mean, we don't. Who knows what they're gonna be. Um,
That's
yeah,
true.
hopefully they do. And the Masters hasn't voted, I don't think, for next year's pack, or is it going to be the same thing? Do you have any idea?
I have no idea.
Okay. Well, I don't know. Someone fill us in if you know, because we don't know.
Yeah, I think they're voting on it sooner or later.
I would hope they vote on it sooner or
It's probably
later.
gonna be Swedish, honestly.
Yeah, probably. But in terms of like band and special characters and whatnot.
Right. I'd love to see an American comp.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think the reason that we just kind of borrow Swedish is because, I mean, it took them 3 years to get Swedish to the point where it is now, where it's actually like balanced.
Right. Yeah, that's why I kind of wrote Swedish off in the beginning, because it was so frustrating at times. But now I love
Hmm.
playing Swedish. I would play Swedish purely, honestly.
Yeah, yeah. No, I mean it's kind of like become a point. It just kind of happens for me now, where like I make a list and I calculate the Swedish score. And like it's just I just want to see what the score would be and like what tournaments could I play in, and if it's a Swedish con tournament, just kind of give a gauge of power level because it doesn't do a very good job of giving you a power level of your army.
Right. That said, I do enjoy ETC games, and I like playing them. Um, I just wish we played a little more in the Mid-Atlantic to make me want to play more ETC games.
Yeah,
Um, because since we don't really have any of those tournaments, it's hard to get motivated to play those practice games.
yeah, yeah. I could see that. I mean, as I said before, I mean that's the thing I don't like about it is they assume you're taking those hard things, and I don't
Right.
necessarily like that. I don't
Mhm.
like being forced into okay, I'm playing demons, so I'm taking either a plague bearer block or a bunch of unit of horrors to fill out my core. Like
Right.
I don't like that. I mean, there is literally no incentive for me to take bloodletters at all because they are far and away the well probably the second worst core choice in the demon book. Let's
I
not.
thought you're gonna give it to Bloodletters over Demonettes.
Yeah, no, it's a second
Whoa,
worst.
bump the
Second
brakes.
worst. Second worst. I pumped the brakes. I pumped the brakes. Second worst. But yeah, the definitely plague bearers and pink horrors are far and away better. So I mean, if I'm playing ETC, yeah, I mean, I need to use those because otherwise I'm hamstringing myself for no reason, which I don't
Right.
necessarily like.
Yeah, I mean, well, it's a different atmosphere too, where Swedish wants you to hamstring yourself in some areas to take the strong stuff, where ETC wants you to take the strongest build possible within the comp.
Right, right.
Well, and then I guess that honestly sums up the difference in the comp packs.
Yeah, no, it does. It does.
Um,
Um, yeah, no, I think it
man,
sums it up pretty well.
look at us. We even had a summary this show.
Yeah, I know. Good
Oh my,
job. Good
oh my,
conclusion.
good conclusion. All right, so that about wraps up our little chat time. Um,
QED.
now I can stand on the high horse, everybody, because I got my battle reports are all out, where you've only got 2 games out.
First of all, not all your battle reports are out because our third game didn't record what properly the first time.
Well, that's your fault.
That is not my fault. I'm working on it. I have exams. Cut me some slack. We'll do the third one, and then I'll do the fourth and fifth probably this weekend or early next week. I don't know. I'm in the middle of exams right now, so it's
So,
kind of
yeah, be nice to him.
yeah,
Be patient.
yeah.
Also coming up, like we said, we're gonna do some brawler stuff, brawler
Yep,
videos.
yep.
Um, we'll probably, we'll probably put our brawler videos out, like our list preps, middle of next week, I think.
Yeah. I
Maybe
mean,
maybe the week after.
we've both played some practice games with it, which has been fun. Instructive, I think, for some people.
Oh, Dan Hosmer.
Yeah. He just shows up and gets
Yeah.
pounded.
Well, at least you got free beer and pizza from us.
He did get free beer and pizza, so that is good. No, and then we helped him with his list, so there we go.
Yeah, we're
Um,
such nice guys.
we are such nice guys.
Look at us.
I even drove him home.
You even drove him home.
Yeah, it was such a nice person. But yeah, no. So we played some practice games. I think both of our lists are where we want them to be. They're due this weekend, so they better be. We really don't have much time to play test and critique, but yeah, no, we'll probably talk about prep next time.
And then after that, I'm afraid that there might be a drop off in the channel a bit with content other than our weekly shows. Just because we don't really have a tournament from Brawlers until maybe Bragging Rights tournament.
Maybe bragging rights.
If
Yeah,
if we decide to go to that, I mean it's all the way in Connecticut, so
yeah. No, it's not easy to get to.
it's a busy time of year for me.
It's pretty busy for me as well. That's right. That's close to my last group of exams, so I'm
Right.
not sure if it falls on that, but it might. So that'd be tough.
Mhm.
But what we will try to do during that is we will try to get games in when we can on the channel, which will be fun. You probably more than likely between me and Joe, probably more than likely a bit more towards a fluffy game. Another thing we've been talking about, well, Joe mentioned it. He has 10K of legal high elves.
No
So
Grand Army.
so I need to get on the ball with that and start getting up to 10K. So we'll see how
Was,
that goes.
wasn't our goal for that like May 1st or something?
No, I don't think it was May.
Maybe it was after the summer.
I think it's after the summer. Yeah,
Right.
that's my goal. That's my goal. Because between your
Okay.
Beastmen, if I use your Beastmen,
Uh-huh.
between the Chaos Army that I'm essentially painting in a week and the demons that I'll be able to have, it'll be good. It'll be good.
Mm-hmm. That'd be great.
Yeah, so we'll try to at some point. Well, I mean, there's going to be a couple tournaments between now and then, but at some point in the future, look for a 10,000 point video battle report, which I think that'll be the first one. And I think what's his name? Malorian had a pretty big battle report on a while ago.
Yeah.
So I think we won't be the first, but we will be one of the early big battle reports people. Yes.
Right. I'm pretty sure that there'll be a one-day event at Huzzah Hobbies too that we'll probably go to
Yeah, I'm sure there will be.
in the future. So, well, thanks for watching our quirky little video. It did get a little bit off track tonight, and we do apologize. But it is 10 o'clock at night.
It is. I have another 4 hours of studying ahead of me.
You
So
have
it's
4
good.
hours studying. I'm gonna go night-night and get up and go to work at 6 a.m.
Yeah, we'll have fun with that. I won't be sleeping, more than likely.
So. We do thank you, like I said. If you guys are still sticking with us, then you are patienter folks than we are. And we will see you in the next Google Hangout.
Have a good one, guys.
Thanks for watching.